There was a question here that I think was interesting. It's sort of a little bit like, why would you bring in a corner that doesn't maximize the scheme? And I think it's more complicated than that, right? It's not, you're not being antagonistic towards the coach, and the coach isn't being antagonistic to you. But are there ways in which you can kind of do what the Chiefs did here, which was kind of dictate what is being done by the moves that you make in the front office?
So, I mean, look, this is a good question. Was it Taylor who asked that question?
Yeah. So Taylor Von Faxon, why would you bring in Dunta Robinson and play him in ways that doesn't maximize his value? How's that possible to bring in corners who aren't scheme fits? Like, that's a good question. I think from the outside, somebody looks at this and says, hey, this isn't adding up. I think there are realities that you have to face as a team builder and also as a coach that maybe you can expound on here.
So shed a little bit of light on that, Taylor. So you go into this and you're like, we're going to get the best damn corner we can get. Your organization's behind you, your head coach and your D coordinator, the GM and the personnel staff, and we have it ranked. And we, come hell or high water, are getting Dunta Robinson to come to the Atlanta Falcons because we deemed that he had such versatility, toughness, because he was also going to be a tough corner for us in Mike Smith's system because Mike Smitty wanted that type of guy. And we thought, which often happens, this is just the way it is in the NFL. Your coaches think that when they see the short sights, which this is the short sights of someone that they have graded as one of the very best out there, that they can coach that player out of it. So if a player's not the best, playing off, they feel like they can bring him along, put him in a scheme situation. So you end up coming together as an entire staff. And this is where people don't necessarily always understand. A general manager normally is in charge of the acquisitions, right? But he also has to listen to his head coach and his coordinator and his position coaches. I've said this before, Taylor. If you're sitting there and you're thinking about, okay, I, come hell or high water, again, using that phrase, I am going to pull the guy that I think is the best player, and I'm going to jam it down these coaches' throats no matter what, because this is what I believe. Those days are gone in the NFL. You then what happens is you might have a group of coaches who aren't necessarily behind your decision as a GM. And then what happens is your coaches aren't really all in it. And that can happen. Before you know it, you're playing a guy like Dunta in a spot. Dunta Robinson is how it's pronounced. You're playing a guy like that in a spot where he shouldn't necessarily be playing, but you're playing him there anyway. You brought him in, you got him in, and you realize we thought we could make this guy a better off corner because he had movement and this and that, but he's just not natural. You realize it after a year and you're thinking, oh my God, we either have to change our style and our approach to adapt to Dunta Robinson, or we have to see if we can play him off. And it was a lot of money invested in a really touchy situation. He made big time hits for us. We loved that. But it was frustrating for our organization.